What the fuck is sleep? I don't even know what that is. Just pull me a forward that tree. Hold up and watch that bitch.
I don't know if you watch Akademiks or you.
Oh yeah, I see some of his clips on Twitter. Yeah,
Well, one thing that sticked out I want to ask you about is I kind of agree with him. He basically said that drill rap or all this gangster rap ain't gonna last past 2025, and he basically said that because a lot of them they either pass away or they go to jail, so it's kind of like it ain't gonna be too many of that around too much. But do you think that more new young guys will come around, or that genre of rap will truly die? And before you say that, and before you answer too, I noticed he was like, 2018 is when all that started popping off, and that's when Lil Baby got big, Young Boy, he started to get a lot of recognition. That really is when a lot of that stuff took off. You don't really seeing it happen longevity just because they all go to jail. They all end up passing away because they're really in the streets. What's your take on that? You agree or disagree?
So I disagree to agree. So, cause I think for the last reason you said is sadly and unfortunately why I don't think it'll ever die.
Why? Because a new young guy will come around.
There's always gonna be. I was watching this comedian, his name Corporate. He's been so funny for so long, and I was listening to beats, and one of his interviews just popped up because he was talking about Steven Jackson going to check in O Block, and he's like, bruh, that everybody's trying to be a big homie, and one of my homies had shared a video that was just talking about Chicago drill scene, specifically from what appears to be somebody who's well respected and accredited. They keep themselves anonymous, and that adds to the mystique of who this person is, and they always give a disclaimer that they just telling stuff they hear and don't take anything as facts, etc. They shine a light on a lot of the people who die. They always take time to respect the dead, because at the end of the day this guy is pushing out video after video, and then almost 99% of his videos, it's a murder that happens and somebody gets killed and then somebody retaliates. Through watching his channel Chicago Scene 88, and he does a lot of good. He does a lot of good documentation, and it's interesting and sad at the same time. But it gives you a perspective on what we already kind of know as black men. You know what I'm saying? We're not in those specific situations, but we know plenty of people who kind of are in those situations where you're in the hood, you don't really have an avenue to get out the hood. You could be trying to do the right thing, and then one of your homies get killed, and you're dealing with the trauma and the pain so much that you're searching for love and companionship and brotherhood, that these 5 guys who also hang out with your brother but on more of a gang type sense, you feel me, kind of partake in you, and now you getting all this love and, you feel me, help, and you feel me, you want the company, so now you hanging around with them, drinking, smoking, now you got the pistol, you feel me, and it becomes your everyday life. We hear story after story about stuff like that. So from an artist perspective, especially you a youngin', say your big homie was a rapper, and you feel me, you always riding around him freestyling, you feel me, saying comments you feel me, start writing, or you feel me, you should really take this shit seriously. He get popped, now you want to dive into the music, but also you still living your real life, which is gunplay, always having a gun when you go to the store, go pick up your kids from school, etc. And not just in places like Chicago. It's hoods everywhere, and it's rappers everywhere who just don't get a lot of attention, or they do get a lot of attention. So I think sadly it'll never stop, in the sense of those specific rappers being killed the way they are killed. It's different if you just pass away from a heart attack or an aneurysm or something that's not even really happening a lot of the times. They either getting killed because of some gang shit, or they were affiliated, or because they were doing drugs to cope with the fact they out here dealing with death and killing every single day. Now I think the positive that can come out of all of that is if more people just keep talking about it, and talking about it from the sense of it having to stop. Like, it could have been so many successful rappers out of Chicago, just specifically Chicago. Same with New Orleans, New York, California. Like, you know what I'm saying? They killed Nipsey Hussle, you know, in front of his store. So it's very hard, especially me specifically. I tussle with that so much because I love life. Like, my dog's in there tweaking. But I love life so much that it does like hurt my heart when I see a lot of these young men, and more times than none they're young black men, but they don't have any avenues, or they're so instilled in that jungle mindset that it's like OGs be trying to talk to them, be like breaking. I done seen, you know, videos of OGs and big homies being in tears, you feel me, coming home or talking to their homies from the other side of the glass, being like, I know, like, I never said this shit would be lame, but like, bro, this shit lame. Like, you need to stop, you feel me? Like, so I feel like Akademiks, he might be also speaking from like a law enforcement standpoint, not that he himself is involved with any like law enforcement, but from the fact that since what just happened to Thug and Gunna, you might see that happening a lot more in music, which I think is maybe true to a certain extent. But a lot of these record labels be having ties to law enforcement, you feel me? Because they know they be having to get their artists off. And so a lot of these law enforcement in cities where there are major artists, there are a lot of times they let these folks go, you know what I'm saying? Because they know they gonna make more money with them being out on the street anyway. So now when they want you, they'll come and get you for sure. That's why they think that shit ain't smart to begin with, just being too involved and too close to a lot of stuff. You gotta progress as a human, and not to say taking care of your gang or your brothers ain't important, but if those people aren't getting the message you trying to spit out, especially if it's positive, like, ain't nothing wrong with going back home, getting a bunch of your homies that you know you can't take care of for like life, but maybe for a weekend or for a week, I can take us out of town and like show you some different shit. And like, you know, yeah, you eventually gotta go home, face the same shit every day until, you feel me, especially if we like close, until I can really bring you out the hood and maybe buy you a house somewhere else and really make sure you straight. You still gotta do the legwork to make sure you can keep a job. Or if you on my team, if I hire you, you gotta stay on your P's and Q's so you can do this job. So like, me as a good friend, I might spend money on you to go to business school, you feel me? So you really know this knowledge. You're not just free balling as my homie. Because when you fail, that still does fall back on me, because I pulled you out this situation and gave you no real resources besides some money and a couch or maybe a bed in my spare bedroom. But when it came time for me to really glow and evolve as a man, you can't be 30 still living with me. You know what I mean? Or if I buy you this house, I can't financially limit myself as well and my future generations of my kids, because I'm paying your mortgage for 10 years. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these rappers be having 5, 10 homeboys who's super, super close, you know? Yeah. So it's really tricky, and they get stuck in that cycle a lot of times. I think it takes everybody involved wanting to be a part of the change and the solution. Because I can only get you so far, but at the end of the day, you gotta really want it for yourself. And not to say these people don't, but like I said, they gotta be constantly shown that it can be different, you know? Like, like, street politics is street politics, but it shouldn't be no reason why somebody can't go back to their hood and say what's up and try and be positive. You know, like, it shouldn't be no reason why you can't go see your grandma. Now, you attract the energy you bring out, so like, yeah, if you shot at their grandma, you feel me, it don't make no sense for you to be wondering why everybody trying to shoot at you, or you feel me, that now they know where your grandma stay and she in danger. So you gotta really protect the energy that you have, and then be conscious of the energy you give out, because that's really all it boils down to a lot of the times. Besides just wrong place, wrong time, which will always just be unfortunate because we dealing with humans, but you just somebody in the wrong place at the wrong time. Like, that's always unfortunate, that due to the mental distress of the whole entire city or collective city around you, that even though you was in a good headspace, you got caught in the crossfire. That's why a lot of these rappers just gotta stop that shit, bro. Like, you feel me? It's too many. The list of innocent bystanders getting killed is too long. So is the list of rappers getting killed. But like, the innocent bystander, like, that's just a risk folks don't need to be taking. Like, and you have that every time you go out sliding, looking for some ops, or just like, you risking the lives of so many people, and not only your own, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, like, feel me, a lot of these folks who really deep in their life, they still might not feel me, but that's really just how I always been about that. And not just because I don't have no stake in the game with that, you feel me? I got a couple family members and friends that, you know, just have ties, and, you know, who have really done what folks would consider work, you know, and I tell them, you know, like I would just tell anybody, just gotta be safe and protect yourself. But I think the worst thing we can do, and that we do as a society, is promote that type of stuff. Like Dirk can just be a great storyteller. Like, Vaughn was an amazing storyteller. Like, he was actually out here doing that shit, and it eventually catch up to you. But if you do all that shit and then stop, but keep rapping, you still a great storyteller. Yeah, and people still gonna respect it because you really did that. There's no need to keep constantly proving yourself, because when you do, you keep yourself trapped in that paranoia of somebody always coming to get you, because you keep going out and getting people, or surrounding yourself with people that is still preaching that, you feel me? And sometimes you do so much dirt, it don't matter what you do, like, feel me? You know, like, he was on Go to the Day He Died, which true, like, somebody want to start an altercation with you. That's why I think a lot of times too, we gotta leave the guns alone, bruh. Like, settle that shit with your fist. Like, social media exists. Niggas is gonna see the fight, they gonna talk about it, they gonna let that shit go. There's some people, if it's two rappers, there's probably gonna be a couple fans that always remind you if you got your ass beat, or if you got beat up, but you lived. You feel me? Your fans is still happy because you can still make music. You feel me? Like, laugh at yourself, joke about it. So move on. Like, live to see another day. I think that's actually one of the bigger issues. Like, folks just gotta put them straps down and, like, throw hands and let that shit go. Like, don't beat nobody to death. No overkill. Throw hands, make sure they straight. Like, I love videos like that. You feel me? If I'm gonna see a fight video, you feel me? Let me see two folks go at it respectfully. You feel me? Pick the nigga up, or if neither of y'all fail, shake hands, dab, and walk off. You feel me? Like, that's shit I applaud. You feel me? If y'all really gonna have a squabble or a beef, like, throw hands, let that shit go, dap each other up, and then you don't gotta fuck with him after that. He don't gotta fuck with you after that. But now your homies ain't sliding on his homies because they want to prove something to you, and his homies ain't sliding on y'all because they want to prove something to him. You feel me? Y'all done fought. You feel me? They can celebrate winning the fight. You can celebrate losing and still having your life and making music. So, or being alive, being a good son, being a good parent. So, I think people just gotta start analyzing their intentions a lot more, bro, and just trying to be different.